John Travolta, Kelly Preston and Stacy Keach all star in Gotti, a biopic of John Paul Gotti, the gangster, the boss of all bosses, a person whom I had heard of before, but I didn't really know the story of him. So I was quite happy to check out this movie, see what it was going to offer. Biopics, love them or hate them. It's one of those ones that I really, it's not something I gravitate towards. And because this was kind of set in the crime fashion, I thought maybe it could be pretty decent. We've seen some excellent ones like this before, particularly Goodfellas, one of my favourite movies of all time. I love that, and I was hoping to have something that was even a fraction good as that movie would have done me. And we get this really nicely shot movie that tells a period in time of Gotti, but this falls into most of the biopic traps that we've seen before, because it's such a big story, because there's so many moving parts, there's so many people, there's so many politics behind the murderous and treacherous things that these people do. You feel as if they're just kind of hitting bullet points and not getting into the meat of the story of how it's really affecting the people, how it's making them make these decisions. It feels as if it's not as fleshed out as I would like. Now, Travolta is fantastic. He's pretty good as Gotti, and we get him in various stages throughout his life, from a young man to rising to be the crime boss, to being elderly and in jail. We get the whole his rise to power, which is very short. You know, we get him as a hitman. Next up, he seems to be an underboss, and then he is the boss. And I would have liked more time spent here to see him rising through the ranks, to see how he played the situations and played everybody against each other, and finally arose to be the boss of bosses. But we don't get that. It tends to focus more on this story of Gotti and his son, people who have been, say, persecuted by the government, but for good reason. These people were doing underhanded things, and the government were kind of leaning on them to make sure they stop, or they get punishment for what they have done. Eventually they get Gotti, who ends up in jail, as we see from the start of the movie, and it's all about his son, his relationship with his son, and how he's going to get on with his life. But it doesn't resonate. It doesn't feel as if there is any emotions, there is any depth, there is any thematics behind this movie. The main character himself dies, as has been noted in papers and things like that. It's not out of the blue, but there seems to be no redemption for that character. The movie's called Gotti. We spend a lot of time with him, and we have this character who has one mindset from the start of the movie and still has that same mindset at the end of the movie. The only thing that changes to his only character arc is he in jail or not? And you get a feeling that even if he was released from jail late on, he would still have went back to this life that he had. His son, on the other hand, is one that seems almost tropey in its development. You know, he grows up with his father. He has a better chance at life, but he falls into the same traps that his father was in. His father doesn't see anything wrong with that and brings him into his world. Eventually he discovers it's not a world he wants to be in and wants to get out of it. Again, it's felt this kind of thing before, but the thing that surprised me about the movie is even though it's not deep, it's not resonant, it's got nothing really below the surface, the surface stuff is actually kind of interesting. It's well shot, it's well handled, there is some nice characters that even though aren't they fleshed out, they're still nice to watch them interact, and it's still nice to see the movie play out. I was surprised at the end of this to find something that I actually enjoyed. I could see lots of faults with it, but I still had fun watching the movie, and it was something I could see myself possibly going back to again. I don't look at it as a biopic, I look at it as the greatest hits of a lot of mafioso movies that I've seen before, without focusing too much on the emotional core of things. It's basically surface as these guys go about their business, which I wish there was a little bit more of in it. Still, I can recommend Gotti if you're interested in biopics, if you're interested in gangster movies and you want to see a little bit more. Travolta's performance is pretty good, as are most of the actors in the movie, and it's something that I can say, yeah, check out. Come back here, let me know in the comment box what you thought of the movie, and I'll see you next time on Man vs Film.